and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling Art with Chris Things.
Ray! Do the hammerlock! I do the hammerlock! Ray! Do the hammerlock, you turkey necks! Yeah, do the hammerlock!
Right, pals! Welcome back to another edition of Wrestling Art with Chris Things. I am Chris Things, your host, your friend, your wrestling art dude, and I'm back here with another match of the week edition here. We will have more of the wrestling art curator editions. More about that later. And I'm very excited about this match of the week. We've got an excellent old man battle, grumpy old man duel of wild and violent proportions between Genichiro Tenryu and Riki Choshu from the ill-fated, short-lived World Japan promotion of Choshu's. Great stuff, and I'm very happy to have my dear friend David back on the show to talk about this one. David's my buddy who, we used to live together back in the day. We used to live nearby one another after that, and used to have a many good night of, watching wrestling, having some beers, seeing some weird old arty movies from time to time. But then David moved on to the UK. For a bit of a trying something different in life. I honestly do miss him a lot. But getting to do this kind of thing on the show like this is really nice. It's really good to be able to connect, and it's kind of like you have that person right here next to you. So I think that's a big part of why I do this show, or at least why I do the format of the show with this match of the week kind of thing, getting an opportunity to kind of like talk to various different friends and just have a little chat, and you guys get to listen to it, I guess. So that's a bit of a selfish endeavour, if I'm being real, but it's fun, and hopefully that fun translates. I don't know, I'd like to think that you guys have a bit of a smile or a laugh sometimes when you listen to this thing. But either way, bloody get on that match. Watch, if you haven't already, this Riki Choshu Tenryu match. Best way to find it, just search the title of the show. I think it's in some different places. I think it's been a long time since there was official channels to be able to watch this in a legal manner. I'm not advocating breaking the law, but I would highly recommend watching this match. More about that later. In the meantime, what's going on in the world of Chris Things deal? I almost forgot to tell you guys, we had a big winner announced for the You Draw the Match of the Week competition. It was such a hard decision. Let me tell you that. I was again, as I spoke on previous episodes, I was just wowed by the different approaches and the variety and skill involved of a bunch of the different entries, but the big winner was Taquero Chela on Instagram, or Nieto. I hope I'm pronouncing that a little bit right. I don't know, you never know these things, but he did the best version of that Osprey match with Danielson, insofar as doing each of these guys as beer bottles, or a beer bottle versus a can, a celebration of cervezas. I don't know where the inspiration for this came from, but I was honestly stoked on it, and I just love the creativity so much. But Thank you so much, Nieto. You've got your prize coming out to you in the next little while. But again, thank you to everyone who took the time to enter. I think we'll maybe do another one of these in the next little bit. But I hope you had fun more than anything. So after that, I'm now back from my big old trip down to Melbourne for those Lucha Fantastica shows I spoke about last week, now I've got this big solo show that I announced last week, the sequel to Los Luchadores versus Cowboys de la Muerte, the big old spaghetti western big grade schlock fest that we had happen last year at Scratch. We're doing the part dose. Like I said, I think there's a little bit of pressure to make it live up to the first one, but that's always the challenge of a sequel, and I think at the very least, even if I don't think it's healthy necessarily to be, trying to live up to as good as or whatever like that. The way I'm treating it is I had a lot of fun with the concept element of the show last time, and I think people had fun with it, from a viewing perspective too. And I think there's a lot more juice, a lot more like ideas of different artworks and illustrations and stuff that, I'd thought up last time, and now I've gotten that back in that mindset. So I'm sort of just watching all of the spaghetti westerns. I'm super stoked for it. But also it's a bit of a challenging time sometimes, trying to be in this real creative zone where I basically have like a week where I'm just making art like non-stop. That does have to take attention away from other sides of your life a little bit. I think it's a balancing act, and I don't think I could do this on an ongoing basis all the time. Badger, hush. Sorry, Badger had something to say there. I think I could do this all the time, but every now and then I think it's good to just go into like hyper focus. So at least as a ADD head like myself, and just do all of the things, make all the things. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm submerged, and I'm getting it all made, and I've got some fun stuff that I'm excited to share with you guys. We'll see how it goes, but I think no matter what, it's gonna be a fun little old time. So if you are in the Brisbane area, please come on down to Scratch on the Sunday the 2nd of June. It's an Arvo sesh where you just get to come along, have some tasty beers if you're a drinker of such things. Maybe some pizza from Ruderci a couple doors up, and enjoy yourself some Chris Things art. I think it's going to be a great time. And then also this Saturday I have the handmade markets, as I mentioned last time, at the Whale Mall, maybe? I think so. So I'm going to be doing that at the Museum of Queensland in South Bank. So looking forward to meeting everyone there. Other than that, I've gotten back to posting some more of these Way of the Blade look backs. I was on a bit of a kick where I was talking about each one as I come across them on this show, but yeah, I figure if you guys are interested, you can read my little write up. But the last one, so good. I almost forgot how much I loved the ridiculousness of the King of the Road match. Incredible stuff. Just like I said, unnecessarily dangerous in all of the best ways. Big fan of that match. Alright, I think that's got us all caught up here. I always really enjoy just getting to sort of talk to you guys directly like this. Sometimes it gets a bit wandery, and that's just how conversations go sometimes. Hopefully that's not too annoying for you. Anyway, I think we're just about ready to talk a little match of the week. Goodness. Okay, I have a friend. I'd say my best bloody mate in the whole wide world on the line to talk the match of the week. That being Riki Choshu versus Genichiro Tenryu in a battle of surly, grumpy old men that I'm very excited to talk about. Welcome to the show, my dude, David.
Hello, good morning, or good night, wherever you're from. It's morning here, night for you, I suppose.
Afternoon for me.
Oh, afternoon, nice. But man, this show, or this match, Tenryu against Choshu, fucking loved it. I loved just the opening. You had the whole feel of it within like 7 seconds of it opening.
Oh yeah.
Just slap, punch, and you're just like, oh, you dick. Oh.
And you told me you watched the whole show. I only watched. I only had time to watch the main event, and then that amazingly bizarre sounding Kensuke Sasaki versus Big Vito match. Because I'm preparing for this art show, but please tell me about your thoughts of what the rest of what you consumed here.
Mate, I actually thought, like, from what I watched, like, so you sent me the link and you're just like, watch this. It's, I've never heard of it before. And then because usually my exposure to wrestling just comes from your house, drinking a little bit, and then like, let's sit down and watch a show of some obscure wrestling.
Yeah.
And it came on and I was just like, oh, fuck, okay. Like, I haven't seen this. This looks kind of interesting. First match was like a rookie match, but was so intense, actually so good. No idea who the wrestlers are, but just two young guys. Because it's like down the bottom, I didn't have it in English, and then I was like trying to look through it, trying to find the names of it, and I'm pretty sure I could just Google them now. But like really intense match, and then the guys displayed themselves really well.
This would be Nobutaka Araya and Takashi Uwano.
Oh,
apparently.
Yeah, no idea who either of those are. I'm gonna be honest with you. But like as I went through the show, you saw wrestlers back in their youth, and you're just like, oh, you were speckled in here, you were peppered in here. That was really nice. Like there was Ishii on the show. There was a pre-orange Honma.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's tag match.
I can see that on here. He's teaming up with his old tag partner Kazushi Miyamoto. The Turmeric Storm.
The Turmeric Storm,
the name of their team.
It was actually really, really good. I really enjoyed it. The Kensuke match. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to the first match for a second because it ended in the most brutal Boston Crab I've ever seen in my life. Oh, I don't want to, like, when you have something spoiled for you, but you still just want to see it? Go watch this.
Yeah.
And then just hold out. Like, it's just the first match of the show. Just hold out for the Boston Crab at the end. Like, it's a great match through the whole thing, but this Boston Crab, he literally just bends him, completely scorpions him over himself.
Roofs it.
And bridges back. The guy doing the Boston Crab pulls a full bridge. And the other guy is like literally eating his own ass at this point. Holy fuck.
So I guess, I don't know if that's part of the thing of like, so this is basically Riki Choshu's new promotion.
Yeah.
And he's left New Japan, took a whole bunch of different dudes from all over the place. I guess Kensuke is his ace that is positioned in this company.
Yeah.
And so I guess the young guys are the ones that he's taken under his wing. I mean, I always heard of like Ishii, for example, was, lot of what he became his sort of like base was all these like teachings from Riki Choshu. So I guess that's a lot to do with it. But yeah, I'd never watched any of this company either, and only stumbled onto it after seeing like a weird highlight of like Kensuke doing awesome shit, and then reading that like Vader had some matches in this company as well. So it's been a very intriguing journey.
Yeah. So, like, you can tell, like, you definitely tell Ishii kind of took a lot of stuff, or not took a lot of his stuff, but definitely, like, took a lot of lessons from the guys who are in here. So, like, Choshu especially.
I mean, I guess when you're looking at the headliners of being like Choshu and Tenryu,
oh yeah,
both of those dudes basically were the basis of Ishii, right?
Well, like, you watch it and you're just like, you could see Ishii growing up, and it's like, you know, when you're in primary school and like, when I grow up, I want to be he goes just like grumpy old fuck. Like, that was his answer to that question. He's like, I just want to be the grumpiest. He's like, I want to lose as much of my neck as possible. Like, I want to be the stiffest old dude. And you know what? He set out these days.
I mean, fuck, imagine, like, you're basically a young guy who's been doing this a few years, but then you're coming in here, you look at the main event of this show, that I guess that him put that whole grumpy old fuck thing into him for the rest of his life.
Well, there were so many, like, grumpy old fucks on the show. You couldn't escape it. Like, so the Kensuke against, like, Vito match was like...
Do you remember Vito from early 2000s WWE, by the way?
Yeah, and I don't know, like, if that kind of, like, molded him here a bit, where he was just, like, an asshole. But he, like, goes for it, he puts his hand, like, Vito right at the start of the match, puts his hand out, and before Kensuke even gets a chance to, like, oh yeah, I'll shake that, he immediately flips it to the bird. Like he just puts his hand out and then flips it to the bird straight away. There's no like, oh, too slow. It's just, no, I'm just going to tell this guy to go fuck himself. And there's like a little bit of a wrestling spot, and then Vito literally stands up and goes, fuck you, motherfucker. And I was like, what's
the jerk?
What is the point of this? I was like, Vito, please. Keep it
I don't
friendly.
know. I assume this is Vito being like, you know what? I got to make a name for myself in Japan. This WWE run hasn't worked out. This is my time, and he's just, I don't know.
I'll tell you what. I didn't mind this match.
I was very intrigued by this. I was a big Vito fan back in the day. Back in WCW. He was the one of the Mamelukes with him and Johnny the Bull, and you know, this is before I really knew much about you know, who's actually being pushed or whatever. And on the Brisbane only ever WCW show I got to see in person in Brisbane at the Entertainment Centre, there was a match between Goldberg and Big Vito. And with Big Vito being one of my favourites, I was really cheering for Vito to win that one. Sad to say he did not.
No. We can't have it all. Can't have it all.
Yeah, but I was very intrigued by Kensuke versus Big Vito. This was basically ended up being kind of like a middle of the rung SmackDown match, basically. I mean,
yeah, it wasn't
Kensuke looked pretty good.
There was nothing like crazy about it. Like, you can just imagine two people getting their best shit in. But it was good. I think it went together quite well. Like, both of them obviously like quite different styles, but Vito brought the intensity that Kensuke wanted, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The two melded really well in the ring. There was no like missteps.
I guess it helps that Kensuke's used to working like a little bit American style. Like
Yeah.
It's all the WCW stuff that he did back in the day and everything.
Yeah.
Can I ask, did you watch the ROAD WARRIORS match on this show?
Against Todd and Mike? Yes, I did, Chris.
Do you remember Todd and Mike as the Dick brothers?
Yeah. When I saw them, I was like, I had to squint and look really close to the TV. I was like, hang on. Is that the Dick brother? Because like when they tagged out, I looked away from the TV for a second because I was like making a coffee at the time. And I was like, wait, did that guy just tag in and tag out straight away? Because he's like, his twin's back in. I was like, holy fuck, no. But it was so funny. But like again, just like another just fun match. Like I really enjoyed it. You get the best. Just get the best out of both worlds, really. But so many power slams.
How were the Road Warriors? Because this is basically the tail end of the Road Warriors, right before Hawk dies.
What?
I think he died like either a couple months after the show or something.
I think at this point they'd well and truly stop giving a fuck. They're just like, just throw the guy, just hit him. It was still like a fun match, but then like, you know, Todd and Mike, they're like, you could tell it was like the early 2000s. Everyone's coming out to like, there's Alien Ant Farm at one point on the show. Like, Annie, you okay? There's someone's interest.
Amazing. Underrated song, might I say.
Matrix had just come out. Everyone's just like angsty. Everyone's got flames on their pants. But no, it was a good match. There's power slams all around. Todd and Mike went over, which I was so
Really?
Yeah. I was like, who are these guys and what right?
Would not have called that.
Yeah, I was like, what right do they have to go over the Road Warriors? But no, it was fun. Like all the matches on this show were just fun.
Maybe Riki Choshu decided that the Shane brothers were going to be his new Road Warriors in World Japan, and to make a new Road Warriors, you have to beat the old Road Warriors. So perhaps that was going on here. I don't know.
Yeah, the Shane twins, love them. Definitely got to watch more of them. Big disclosure, I'm probably not.
Anything else on the show before the main?
Nothing really of note. Like I think my favorite match, going back and looking back at it, was probably the Ishii match. I think that was actually quite fun to watch.
Yeah,
lots of intensity.
Well, that makes sense. And Yoji Anjo, he's a former UWFI guy.
Oh, really?
Oh. I think he might have even been the one that went over to America and got fucked up by one of the Gracies. You remember hearing that story where he went to the dojo and called a fight and got not good things happen as a result?
No, I didn't hear about that. Actually, I might have heard about that. I'm just very out of the loop lately. But go on. What happened to him? What happened to the boy?
Yeah, he got fucked up by Hickson.
Oh, no.
Well, I think he wanted to make a name for himself. He went over to California, wherever it was that Crazy Dojo was, and he came into the dojo and was like, hey, motherfuckers, I'm bringing Japanese pro wrestling pride and UWF turf wars to the Gracie Dojo here. And they're like, Hickson isn't here right now, but we'll call him up. He doesn't live far. And then he came, and safe to say, Yoji Anjo got fucked up pretty bad. And the worst part was that he took a bunch of Japanese journalists and photographers with him, so they documented the aftermath of him getting his ass kicked. Oh,
poor boy.
So didn't quite work out the way he'd hoped.
Oh well, can't have it all.
But eventually, we had Sakuraba defend the pride of Yoji Anjo and UWFI when he finally got his big win over Hoist.
Yeah, rolled that guy, the Gracie Killer, my man.
Fuck yeah.
So this Tenryu and Choshu match, Chris.
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna say, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
So did I.
Just as I said, like 7 seconds in, it was just they're just like, you know what? Because they had a match the previous year.
They had a match on the previous show, actually.
Yeah, and then so previous show, so where it opened with like a punch to the face, and it was just like holy shit. So Tenryu just straight up punched Choshu in the face, and then like you heard the audience go off, And then 7 seconds into the show, it was slap, slap, and this punch hit again, and the whole audience just felt it. The whole audience was like, oh, that's what we're going for here. Like, just instantly reigniting that. And everyone's been rewarded for coming back and watching this second kind of heat of it. And it was amazing.
Dude, I loved it so much. It was it's a funny one because they had their matches in the I think 90s and like 93, so it's like 10 years prior to this, and they had those like a couple amazing matches, like interpromotional kind of ones back in the day when War was getting up and started. And then so they came back. Choshu starts his new promotion. First ever main event of their big show at Ryogoku is him and Tenryu. And I watched it just prior to this one, and I was a little bit sad to say that match blew. Like, that was not very good. I don't know what happened. It was just a weird kind of like pacing and tempo, and just didn't like click, and it went like a long time, and it just kind of like, yeah, it was one of those ones where the finish comes and everyone's like, oh, that was the finish. Oh, okay, that's weird. But so it's almost like, from watching that, I was almost not going to bother with this one, but I was like, well, I'll bloody give him a go. Let's see how it is. And I was so glad that I did. And it's almost like they had something to kind of make up for the last one being a bit of a stinker, because they were just like just incensed to just beat the shit out of one another this whole time. I love the thing as well that it sort of starts out like Choshu's wanting to like be a bit more methodical, like he wants to, have a bit more of a like wrestling match, and the whole time Tenryu is just like, nah, motherfucker, let's go. He's just slapping him, punching him.
Oh, it's just like keeping the intensity up for the whole thing. But I just don't because they're not young boys at this point. But the intensity throughout the whole match.
Both in their 50s.
Yeah, but the intensity throughout the whole match, like to be able to keep that up, and then to actually feel like you're watching it and you're glued to the TV because you're just like, these guys are actually going to kill each other. Like, they're hitting each other so hard. They're doing their moves just like ruggedly. They're just like, they're going to get to the point where they're just going like, nah, I'm sick of this. You're fucking copying this. But no, it was like, it was so much fun just seeing these guys just like two big boys slapping meat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just like in the surliest, grumpiest old man fashion possible. It's like two dads just having a dad fight, like that South Park episode with Randy Marsh.
I didn't hear no bell. Oh. No, because we've like watched a fair few Choshu matches together and a fair few Tenryu matches, but I think this was definitely like one of the most intense they've ever had together. Like this one for me takes the cake on. Yeah, this one for me takes the cake on like how rough they were with each other. And I loved it.
I think the length of it really adds as well, because it's like sub 12 minutes. I think the whole match is only like 11:30 or something like that. But like just start to finish of that 11 minutes 30, like you're saying, it's just like escalation in like violence and hatred towards one another. Yeah. There's some wrestling sprinkled in as well, but
no, it's mostly just
and slaps,
it's mostly so just good. Fighting. Like, and I'm completely here for it. Like, I loved it. Just any kind of impact, and the Raw. Like, this is one thing I love about kind of this era is they just run out of the corner with clotheslines, and they're not looking to make that clean impact. They're looking just to like clock them over the head, or clock them in the body, or just run into them with their arm just outstretched. And there was like 3 or 4 in here where they just clock them square in the ear.
Dude, there's one that Choshu does it. Oh, yeah, where he like hits him off from the side kind of thing. These like lariats and clotheslines that just look like they're just... it's like you're just beltering a dude with them, just breaking him down with these clotheslines. It's not like a clean bump kind of clothesline. It's almost like kind of awkward and messy, but that makes it even better kind of thing.
Well, I think it's like I really liked it because that there was that like wearing down concept of it, where he's hitting him and then Choshu's not like going down for them. Like Choshu's not falling over. He's just copping him on the side, but He's taking the days from it. And then when he does hit it clean is when it makes, like, to me, it makes more impact. Whereas, like, nowadays, there's just, like, you take a clothesline and you try and take a flat, you see them taking a flat bump. Or you see everyone trying to take moves cleanly. Whereas you can do things like this. Like, you can give them those really raw clotheslines and lariats, and then they stumble around the ring and they feed around the ring so everyone in the audience is getting these, what usually would be a center of the ring spot. They're getting them, like, right on the ropes next to them. Because they're not clean. They're just out of nowhere. Like, oh, I'm going to try and hit him with something. I'm just going to run him full bore, throw my arm out, try and get him over the ear, try and daze the guy. And with the amount of bloody, like, ear slaps and straight punches they'd take in that match, like, I think it just adds another dynamic to it. It's like, throw whatever you can at the other guy and see what sticks.
Yeah. And the bloody, when they go to the outside after Choshu finally hits him with his big Choshu lariat, and then, but instead of, like, capitalizing, he, like, turfs him to the outside in like a move of I guess insulting his honor, you know. And then Tenryu is fucking incensed. He's on the outside. And then it gets, like you said, this escalation. It goes to the next level. Tenryu just starts throwing fucking chairs into the ring. And then eventually Choshu comes out after him. He's, like, throwing chairs at him. He throws a fucking table
just, like,
at
lifts
him,
a table from the other side of the
It's just, like,
barricade.
off to the races.
Just, like, lifts a table from the opposite side of the barricade. Here, cop this. Like, I didn't even see the table there. He was just like, yeah, here you go. Just, like, cracks him over the back with it. But
what old man strength right there.
I know, like, but you get a gauge for, like, the size of these guys when they are actually on the outside, when they are walking around. Like, they're big boys, and they're moving around, like, they're moving around the front of the gate. You can see the people on the other side of it, just like, holy shit, what's going on? And then, yeah, just reaching and grabbing their chairs off them. People just, like, getting out of the way for them, because I don't actually think that people knew it. You know when people come into the audience or people come to the outside and you're just like, oh, there's going to be a bit of brawl out here. We might have to move away from the gate a little bit, but there might be this, might be that. But, like, everyone in the front row was like, oh, let's quickly just move back a little bit because we genuinely don't know how angry these guys are at each other. Like, they could probably feel the heat coming off the mat.
The best part was it's not like they're doing that thing where they, like, ask the fans to, like, pass them a chair, or, like, there's young boys that are, like, getting them out of the way or whatever. Tenryu's basically like yanking chairs out from people while they're sitting.
Yeah.
For him to, like, smack Choshu. And then it just, like, turns into, like, a bloody hardcore match for a bit, where in the ring he's just beltering the shit out of him with these chair shots.
Well, like, it's great. But there's, like, one point where he reaches over and grabs a chair, and someone's purse is still attached to the chair, and the guy is, like, trying to reach over to grab the purse back off him, and someone just, like, one of the ring attendants just sits back down, and he's, like, waving his hands, clearly like, oh, we'll get it for you, and then Tenryu swings the chair. Oh, sorry, Choshu swings the chair at Tenryu, and the purse is still attached. The purse is still on the chair. And I'm like, these guys are just reckless. But, like, that's it. Like, it's just about devil may care, throw everything else to the wayside. Like, I just want to hurt this guy.
Yeah. You know, that's, like, weirdly become one of my favourite things in wrestling of late. Like, just with how sort of safe and responsible a lot of wrestling is these days. When I see shit like this that's just, like, outlandishly irresponsible and reckless.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, fuck yeah. You go, King.
Yeah, pop off, King. Yeah. I think that because of how raw it was, it brings back that kind of dynamic of people just throwing moves at each other. But then they do it in such a way that, like, there's a build to it. There is there is another gear there. It's not just, oh, we're just wildly doing stuff and that's the whole match. There is wrestling in there. But they build to it so well. It's just like they're brawling, they're taking each other down a peg. they're getting angry at each other, and there is the animosity there, but it does end on like a really good wrestling note as well.
Oh, man. I mean, a note about that, like, sort of with the actual, there is wrestling there and there is really good stuff. One of the things that I noticed through all of this, like, all this wild and craziness, old man violence that we're talking about, and these slaps and punches and gruff shit. But Tenryu's selling, like, he does, like, a bit of that kind of, like, Kawada, like, delay, kind of, like, after they have, like, a scrap kind of interaction.
Yeah.
Tenryu had this amazing ability to sell where he just kind of, like, looks at him and he, like, kind of will, like, you know, touch his face, or kind of, like, an acknowledgement kind of thing of, like, you motherfucker, that hurt. I'm going to kill you next time.
Yeah. Well, that takes us back.
So great.
Takes it back to like the lariats over the side of the face. He would like hold his head, hold his ear, like, oh, that dazed me a bit, that got me a bit. But it's not as if he's out of the fight. Like, he's not just suddenly going like loopy, or his legs are going silly and he's, you know, leaning against the ropes or whatever. He's taking a hit from a big guy who's, you know, one of his signature moves is this huge lariat that he hits. But because these ones are so like undirected and not like the clean one that he usually hits, it's just like a big strike. And then so Tenryu's selling it. Like, I've always loved his selling, where he just kind of, he shakes stuff off, but he holds like, oh, that has affected me a little bit. And he takes himself down in such like 1% at a time. Like, it wears away at him 1% at a time. But he's still able to get up, and it's only when he's at that like bottom 20% is he really starts selling. So it's not just like they're building up the intensity of the match, like, by what they're doing, is they're building up the intensity of match as they're selling.
Yeah, I think it's got an excellent build, and it like has There's a little bit of subtlety, like we're saying, and like a bit more realism, I think, with the selling and just the acknowledgement of the things. And I don't know, it's just got a great feeling of like a actual fight because of that, I think. And can we please talk about just how great and interesting, like, visually both of these guys are? That was like a big part of me, like, when I picked this as the match for me to like draw.
Yeah.
Just like, do you get two more interesting looking cats than these dudes? Like, between Choshu's like stubby, short, but like freakishly thick body with this delightful little snazzy mullet.
Such a smart mullet.
And then Tenryu with this amazing, like, Tenryu's massive, like, strong old man melty candle physique is like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's like your dad was like a bricklayer for his entire life, and then now he's still got like the strong frame under, like, you know when people were like wearing a suit and you're just like, that guy's clearly huge. But then they take it off and it's just like, well, you were huge, but yeah. Someone left you out in the sun.
It's almost like his muscles kind of melted, but they also calcified at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of like these stones that he has inside him.
Mate, I wouldn't actually be surprised if he was like part rock golem. The guy is hard as fuck. He's like, the amount of chops and the amount of lariats he's taken over the years, I wouldn't be surprised if his like muscles have just been compounded and pressured into being just like, he's just got diamonds under him. He's just got diamonds instead of muscles now. But like that's it. Like, these guys are 50 and still putting on like the intensity of this, like, which is so incredible.
It's crazy. I think the best part about this was like, I went in with like low expectations for this, which I guess is probably the opposite of a lot of people, because a lot of people would be like, you know, like Tenryu and Choshu, like two of the all-time, like, you know, first ballot Hall of Famers, incredible careers. But after that last one they had, it was like, oh yeah, let's just see how this one goes. But yeah, I mean, there's just something so fascinating about them, watching them in their golden years, just like going at it harder than most guys that we see in their prime today.
Yeah.
And then the whole bit of like, from when they get back into the ring and had that incredible like strike exchange, which I've learned now. I think all my favorite matches just have a good slap off
Yeah.
kind of part where it's just some big beefy slaps going back and forth.
Yeah, this is the part after Tenryu's trying to get in the ring. Choshu just keeps knocking him off just over and over again.
Yeah. It finally gets him.
Yeah.
And then we have just an incredible exchange, and then just a series of brainbusters, meaner and dirtier than the last,
Yeah.
until eventually Choshu's done.
Yeah. But this, like, with the strike exchanges that were going on, the intensity of them was consistent throughout the whole show. Like, there was a massive kind of theme here of people just like slapping each other, but really hard, like really throwing everything they have into it. And then I don't know whether they had something really to prove on this show, but it just, like, every single match had that in it. But it under no means did it take away from it. It was just like, oh, this is actually quite cool. This is actually quite intense. Like, they've come here to add more of like a fight theme to it, like a really kind of stiff theme to it, which I'm all about. I love. But yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It was great.
I guess a part of that is also sort of establishing a new promotion, because this is their first ever Korakuen Hall show. I think the second ever event in the history of World Japan.
Yeah.
They didn't last all that long. I think they lasted a bit over a year until the sponsor pulled out and they called it quits.
Yeah.
But man, this show, it's exactly as you're saying. Everyone seemed to. I mean, I didn't watch the other matches, but like just something to prove, and especially in this main event, it just seemed like these two old dudes just had something to prove, and I think they did.
What was like what was the match that was on before it? Oh, the Amori match.
Oh yeah, how was that?
That was actually really good. Like, hip attacks for days.
Shiroko Shinaka, baby.
But no, it was really good, really intense. There was a bloody nose at like right at the opening of the match. Like, they were just hitting each other in the face constantly. Yeah, there was a bit of blood coming out of the nose on Koshinaka's part, but no, it was really good. But that being said, that not a single match in this I didn't enjoy.
Watch that.
Not a single match on this show I didn't enjoy.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know the one thing I'd heard about World Japan, is that they were sort of generally like, it didn't last very long and most of their shows were quite disappointing. But I'm very happy to hear that maybe that's not quite true.
Yeah. Well, no, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this. Like, I think the main event definitely surmised the whole show, where it had intensity, had the aggressive strikes, ended on some great brainbuster exchange there that we spoke about. And then, Tenryu just being an absolute dick. And then there was like the little fight that happened just after the match as well. But
gotta keep it going, baby.
I'd be up for watching more of this. I'd be up, obviously it's done and dusted now, but up for going back and watching my way through it, because there's still like a year's worth of content there,
dude. Yeah, and there's some interesting stuff on the future shows. One of the future ones that I'm very intrigued by is one of the last matches of, I think the only match that Vader ever had in World Japan. It was Vader against Don Fry.
Yes, I did see that actually when I was scrolling through the history of it and all the matches. There's Ichiro Yaguchi on one of the shows.
Oh yeah, Onita's boy.
Yeah, Otani's on the show.
Ooh, sick.
As well.
Big fan of
there's
Otani.
Heaps of appearances. But yeah, there's obviously like a very intense, like, all the wrestlers that you see coming through here are quite intense wrestlers. There's no like flowering around it. There's just these guys have come here to kind of fight, throw brainbusters, hit each other as hard as they can, lariats for days. But sometimes you need that in wrestling. Sometimes you don't want the bells and whistles. You just want two dudes to hurt each other.
Two sluggers. Two old man bruisers.
Two sluggers. Two battlers. One drinking Guinness, the other one drinking cider.
What more could you want?
Yeah. What more can you want? Well, more of this, but unfortunately it's gone. It's done.
Apparently, what I believe to be the last show in the history of this company, it lasted up till 2004. So we went from March of 2003 up till June of 2004. So they made it a bit over a year.
Yeah. Good 15 months.
Yep. Last ever show ends up the main event of Bad Boy Hito, Kentaro Kanemura, and Mr. Ganasuke. So basically like the Dirty Deathmatch boys against Ishiro Yaguchi, Riki Choshu, Takashi Uwano, who was in that early match on the show, and Ishii. Interesting stuff. I'm intrigued by World Japan. I didn't think I'd end up watching it.
Well, I'm interested. So on that same show, the match before that was Koshinaka, who I've actually started like really liking lately.
Oh, dude!
Like he's put on some great matches. Koshinaka Omori versus Mammoth Sasaki and Mr. Ganasuke as well. So he's like back-to-back matches.
Damn, FMW boys.
So Mr. Ganasuke goes from the semi-main into the main. But that's the same. So Gentaro's in one of the earlier matches as well, and then he's in the main event too.
Did half the guys just not turn
I'm interested
up to
as to
this
what
show?
sees. I'm wondering, or is there kind of, I don't know, just because I'm just looking at the list at the moment, but I'm wondering if there's a theme going throughout it, whether there's some kind of feuds to finish off at the end of the night.
Who knows?
But either way, I'm excited to see. Either way, I want to watch through and see what happens here. See what kind of dumbfuckery pops up that forces half the roster to suddenly appear in the main event.
Holy shit! On their anniversary show in Tokyo, this one caught my eye. We've got the original Tiger Mask, Satoru Sayama, against a young Katsuhiko Nakajima.
Oh yeah. I scrolled past that. I did pop my fancy a little bit there.
Pump that into my veins. Shit.
Oh, yeah. Go on. Take a direct shot of that. So let's talk about the art that you've made for this.
Oh yes,
Chris. Let's talk about your illustration for this.
Okay.
So we've got the back of Choshu and the front of Tenryu, and you can just
Chunky
see
back.
the chunky back. And I don't know whether it's sweat or they're melting, but I feel like this.
¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos? But I think you've captured the glorious little backside of the mullet. Captured Tenryu's tight, beautiful curls there, and the standoff as well. I think if you'd tried to pick any like mid move here, it would have done a disservice because I feel like this encapsulated quite well. The match in itself is two dudes standing off against each other, not giving either one an inch. It takes it right down to the wire. But yeah, this is great, and just
thanks, dude.
You got the intensity in Tenryu's eyes as well as he stares down Choshu.
Tenryu's just got the most interesting expressions through the whole match. So I tried to capture a little bit of that. This actual moment was during that last slap and punch exchange that we were talking about in the match when they got back into the ring, and actually went through it on almost like a frame by frame of like that whole like sort of like back and forth of like the different like chops and punches and like reactionary little bits, it was a tough choice, to be honest, of the different ones for the reference image for it, because there are some like really great ones where it was most. I think this one ended up being kind of like a reaction from Tenryu after Choshu like slugged him pretty good, and it was almost like what we were saying, that sort of like little acknowledgement of that little like, ooh, all right.
Yeah, like now he's got to get his hands up. Like now he's got to start defending himself, because that one was like, can't let another one of those through.
Yeah.
But it's like if you look, like as you're watching the match, you'll notice that they are on quite equal footing going through the whole match. So there's no real one point you can pick where it's just like, oh, here's where you can feel the intensity of the match, or here's where you can feel it. I think it is perfect in this standoff you've chosen to illustrate, Chris.
Oh, I appreciate it.
It looks really good.
I think a key part of it as well was that it sort of got to show off a little bit of that bizarre Tenryu physique that we're talking about too. I definitely want to draw more Tenryu. And a quick question here: the Tenryu hair, do you think that's like natural, or do you think that's like a Jerry curl kind of situation that he would have done before every match? Like he's got the curlers put in, he goes to the salon.
Well, Chris, I want to give an answer, but I also think if I say, oh no, that's not real, I'll have like the Japanese version of the FBI knocking on my door saying like, shut up. Like, you take that shit back right now. Like, this is the second most heavily guarded secret in all of Japan. Is his hair natural or not?
You'll have the Yakuza on you for sure.
Exactly. I was like, oh, I don't want to. I want to believe it's real. I want to believe the most he does to it is maybe put some hairspray in it before he goes out.
Ooh, nice.
But that's it. I every fiber of my being was to believe that those curls are real.
I was thinking about it, and I don't know which I would prefer, because it is quite great to think that just is natural. But I also think it's equally great to think that he's spending the time going to the salon, having some vacuous chats with the ladies in the salon while he gets his hair did, before every match. It's kind of cool too.
Well, I want to believe this is the reason why he is the way he is. Like every other Japanese person has like straight dark hair, and he was a young child, and he was the only kid with curly hair, and he got bullied, and so he just became rough. Like he just hardened him, turned him into absolute nails.
The curls,
and then now you see him today. Exactly. Like he had no choice but to grow up on the mean streets of Straight Hair Town. As the only kid with curly hair, like he had to defend himself.
Yes.
And turn himself into one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Love it.
Yeah, I want to believe it's real.
All right.
But I still want to believe that, yes, he has these chats with hairdressers as he gets, like, his hair foiled.
Well, he definitely gets the foils done. I think I
100%.
Oh, Choshu too. Choshu looked like he had some sweet highlights in this match too.
I reckon that guy just drives a convertible with the top down constantly. But, like, one of those comedically small convertibles. Like... Yes. He's driving a Stingray, and he's got the top down. He just looks way too big for the car that he's driving. He's got his girl in the side who's taking up like 1% of the seat space because he's taking up the other 99. Yeah, and it's just the hair through that mullet is what keeps it so fresh.
I mean, there is a chance it's natural sun-bleached highlights, because I reckon Choshu is definitely a man that's not shy about getting a tan.
Oh no, he definitely rocks up to the beach in a G-string, and no one says anything.
No, the banana hammock G-string too. He's definitely got the.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one says anything. Everyone just nods and go, "Yep, that's completely normal. Go about your day, move out of the guy's way, or he'll hit you."
I reckon he would have, like, unruly, enormous balls as well.
God, huge balls.
Yeah.
The biggest.
Yeah.
That's what this is about, actually. That's what this feud is about. This was like, who had who had the harder upbringing? A guy who just wanted to wear like budgie smugglers on the beach, but it was always picked on it, so it became enormous, so no one said anything. Versus the guy who had curly hair. And this is just the culmination of who's harder, who had the most difficult but bizarre upbringing.
Tremendous. I feel like we've really added something to the Choshu versus Tenryu feud analysis that you're not getting anywhere else here.
Well, like, I can't speak Japanese, so I'm only assuming this is what the commentators are saying while the match is going on. You know, you got to make up your own story, and you got to get yourself into some things when you don't speak the language. And this is the one I'm sticking to.
This is true. This has always been our thing, I feel like, you know, no matter what we'd watching, we'd at least create some sort of great imaginary narrative to make it a bit more interesting. Or when we were watching our first ever game of roller derby, and we created a whole set of really interesting rules to make sense of it, that apparently none of which were true.
None of them. Like, we made up these rules, and we're like, yeah, the scoring exactly how we said. All right, yeah, we've got it. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. No, this is working out perfectly. Yep, the score's going on the board as we're seeing what exactly we've said is happening. And then, yeah, your partner at the time, Courtney, skates up and she goes, no, none of that. That doesn't even make sense. No, it works like this. And we're just sitting there thinking to ourselves, no.
Our version is better.
Yeah, our version's better. We're sticking to this. We put all this effort into it. You know, and this is actually the first roller derby game I'd ever been to. So, yeah, it was. Yeah, was this because had you been to one before this with Courtney?
I think I'd been to one roller derby game before this, separate with a former a workmate back in my Apple days, because she was a derby player. But I clearly had no idea what was going on that show either, so it's not like I'd learnt anything.
No, that's okay. That's all right. We live and we learn.
We do.
Unless it's roller derby, in which case we don't learn. We take your reality and instead substitute our own.
I think there's something to be said about willful, blissful ignorance. You know, if the things aren't exciting enough, just create your own reality. What's wrong with that?
Just add your own story, and that's it. But you can do the same on any one of these matches, guys. Go out, watch them, think of some silly story, put it in. Pretend the commentators are just as excited about it as you are. But no, so all in all, this was actually a really good show. I was really happy I watched the whole thing. So originally I was going to skip straight to the end, but then I saw there was a young boy match on, and I just think, yep, young boys, just two dudes, worlds in front of them, whole lot of energy. They just go as hard as they possibly can. They got something to prove.
And young Ishii he had was that when he had the flat top hairdo?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, slicked back a little bit, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, might have been a flat top. Yeah, it was odd seeing him young and in white tights too.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, a lot of those matches were good.
Well, I'm happy to hear it. This was mainly a freak show match that I just enjoyed. And when I did my little write-up about it on Instagram, I was like, caution people, because I'm like, I could see a lot of people saying, like, or thinking, like, technically this was not what they would call a good match. But I think I'm in the stage of watching wrestling where it's like, I'm not looking for stuff to be, like, technically proficient. I'm just looking for it to be done with heart, and I'm looking for the weird shit. So this definitely had both of those things.
Well, that's like all wrestling's ever been to me, is, are you invested in it? Is this entertaining you? It's like, it's that simple. Is this something that you would go, yes, I want more of this, or no, I'm not enjoying this? And it's up to the wrestlers themselves to go, this is something I do well, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn this aspect of myself to 11. I'm going to put it on display, If people don't enjoy it, then they won't enjoy it. But there's no point in trying to constantly change and shift yourself to appease others. Some people will really be into it, and that's how you become like these guys are. Like some of the greatest wrestlers of all time is they've got their brand, they stick to it, and then occasionally they'll get put in these matches where someone just reflects it so well, or you add to it, like adds to that kind of aspect of your personality so well that the audience gets into it as well. Whether it's two guys like this who have similar wrestling styles but locking horns, and then you're just like, which one is better? Like, who's coming out on top of this? Essentially. And you can have all the flashy moves in the world that you want. You can have people doing backflips, 630s off the top, which are of course fascinating and amazing, but that's their brand of wrestling. If you're entertained by that, go and watch that. But if you're entertained by wrestling meets like an intense fight, like where you can see that these guys have something to prove, not to the audience but to each other, the audience will be drawn in by that. The audience will be entertained by that, because there's a lot of people kind of pander to the crowd and do the like, yeah, let's hear it, come on, everyone clap for me. Like, these guys are only here to wrestle each other
and punch one another in the face, and then like again, like it comes out in this in the illustration that you've drawn as well, where the two dudes are only looking at each other. The rest of the audience is blacked out, because to me the rest of the audience in this doesn't matter. They're only there for each other. They're only there to kind of hurt each other, prove something, that like they're the alpha bull in the pen. And then, but the audience gets drawn into it as well. They feel the intensity. And that's what wrestling is do you feel this, like, are you feeling this match? Are you enjoying it? Why are you enjoying it? And just like, if you can sit there and ask yourselves these questions, and then just like see the wrestlers you see doing what you want to see, and just Google more of them, Google more of their matches. And occasionally you'll see them wrestle a match against a guy. You go, oh, I like that guy too. That was a really good reflection of the other guy too. These guys have a lot of chemistry. I'm going to watch some of his matches as well. And you can just float along like that and enjoy your time wrestling. And then eventually you'll go, I want to see the build up to this match. I don't just want to see, oh yeah, here's this match with two really good wrestlers. I want to see the story to it, or the road to it. And I feel like there's going to be some bad matches here and there, or not some not so great matches here and there. But by the time you get to the end of it, you're going to turn back and say, that was a really good use of my time. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and sometimes like this, you get through something that might be a not so great match, but and on one hand you might be like, oh man, I kind of wasted my time watching that. But then you go that next step and you watch this. And like I was saying, it's like that previous one made this even better. So it's sort of like that road that you're talking about when you really get into these wrestling nerddom rabbit holes, and you like just go down and you invest that time into it. It makes the payoff all the more satisfying. So,
Well, that's it. That's exactly right. It's an investment, and then you want a payoff at the end of the day. But in a sport that's as volatile as professional wrestling, you might not get that payoff. But that's the gamble you take in enjoying something like this. Is everyone wants that dream match. Everyone wants like the perfect match. But the point is, you'll never have it. You'll just have something that just comes so close where you actually lose sight of it and you don't care about the perfect match that you want. You're just genuinely happy, watching this thing, and you forget about everything else. You're just watching some great wrestling. And then at the end of it, you go, oh, wait, I was actually looking for this, but I forgot about it because I was just really happy watching.
Yeah, I think that is a great way to put it. And
just enjoy it.
On that note, I've so, like, from watching this one, it's like reawoken my love for Tenryu. I mean, it's not like I ever stopped loving Tenryu, but like, you watch other stuff. Tenryu's been retired now for a little while, and I'm like, oh boy, I think this has reignited that love for, specifically, I think 50s Tenryu. I think this, early 2000s run is one of the greatest grumpy old men runs of all time. I mean, I'm thinking now, like, that classic that he had with Kenta where it's a perfect battle of like surly old man versus young punk fuck who's just gonna not show any respect whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I think we've got some Tenryu matches to look forward to, potentially more so in the match of the week. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to go watch that Tenryu versus Kenta match tonight. I was actually thinking about that.
Yes.
I was like, oh, here's two guys on equal footing who are taking up against each other. What's one dynamic we could add to this? And just a guy who's just as intense, but with not as much, like, nowhere near as much time under his belt, but he does not give a fuck. And it's Kenta.
He's
like,
the flame to the dynamite.
That's it. He is. He's but yeah, exactly, stuff like that. Like if you want to watch wrestling with a bit more intensity to it, where there's a bit more of a fight in it, this whole show has it, and then it culminates in this match, in this Tenryu and Choshu match. I think it's just a really good reflection of the whole show.
Yeah, and I'm just really stoked that it's like I think the undiscovered gems are something that are a lot more satisfying to watch than. And obviously, I love like the Kobashi, Misawa Kawada, like all of those like greatest matches of all time. That everyone raves about, but then there's something more satisfying about finding stuff to where it's like not many people have much to say about it, and it's just like you kind of find it and you're like, man, this was bloody something, and I don't see anyone else talking about it,
No, well, that's it. But it might just be that it could just be that people didn't get through the show, or people could see that there's like, oh, the promotion didn't do so well, therefore the wrestling must not have been so good.
I imagine a lot of people probably jumped off after that first show at Ryugoku that didn't light the world on fire. They probably watched that one and were like, oh, that's enough of World Japan for me. But you stick it out, there's some good stuff to be found.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, I also want to watch the final show where there's half the card is now in the main event.
You can see they maybe they'd run out of money by that point. The sponsor was gone. They're like, all right, guys, we're just doing the best with what we have. We got to get through this last tour.
All right, everyone's gonna wrestle all the matches, but just wear different masks. All right, everyone turn the gear inside out. You're a different person now.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
All right,
that's good stuff.
This has been a lot of fun. I still am like, man, there's more World Japan I need to watch. I'm just going to be scouring these cage match cards for the next little while.
I did see those actually. Yeah, I did see those advertised. I want to give a couple of those a watch throughout the week.
We'll see if we
see
can
what
find
they're doing.
This show was hard enough to find. I messaged you initially where I was like, so the only copy of it that I found was on like this porn site.
Yeah. That's good because, like on my phone, when I move it to TV, on the phone it will go to the smaller screen, so the rest of the website's open.
Yeah.
So I've got it sitting there on like the armrest, and I have my partner sitting next to me as well while this is on the TV. And then she's just like, David, what are you watching? I was like, oh, wrestling, it's on the TV. She's like, no, what's all that stuff around it? I was like, shut up, baby, you know what this is.
Yeah, the other like previews, it's like not just like any porn either. It's like hardcore like anal and shit. Like hilarious.
It was like this is like the ads that are around it. And Sandra's just like looking at my phone for a second. She's like, okay, all right, okay. I was like, yeah, it's two birds, one stone. Same website, I can have it all.
Just again, it makes it even better. You're like, this is perfect. Like you said, the sacrifices good. We make for wrestling, hey?
Yeah, that's it. Oh man, having to trawl through that, we get further and further from God's light every day, Chris. I swear. Some people just need to pick up a fucking Bible. Oh.
We clearly need more baby Jesus in our lives.
Yeah, your motherfuckers need to find God. Oh. Still my favourite Kanye response. Find God. Please.
Oh boy.
All right, mate. Yeah, this has been real fun.
All right, you got to get to work.
Yeah, I've got to start getting ready. Got another renovation to do tonight.
Oh
Or
my
today.
gosh.
Yes. This will be my 6th one this year. So slamming them out at the moment. Thanks, brother. All right. You take care. It's been a lovely chat, Chris.
You too, bud. Thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
That's all right. That's all right. Anytime. I'd love to give a quick shout out to Crocs.
Ooh.
I recently bought a pair. Comfy as hell.
Was it the thing where you originally got onto them in like an ironic way and then you're like, these are actually delightful?
Well, yeah, I just wanted something to wear around the house, but I hate slippers because they constantly come off the back.
Right.
These little bad boys have a little sports strap.
Ooh, how about that?
So there we go. So the irony has turned full circle into love.
Shout out to Crocs.
Yeah, shout out to Crocs. There we go. Can't wait to get some little gibbets to put on them.
Right. Get some stickers or something to go on there, maybe?
Yeah. Ka-chow.
Heck yeah. All right. Thanks, my dude. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, mate. Talk soon. Bye.
All right. Love you, brother. Bye.
Love you.
Okay. That was a lovely one. A little bit all over the shop, but that's just, you know, my friendship with my best mate David. So a little window into that for you. I don't honestly know whether that makes for good podcasting, a good audio listening experience, or not. But either way, there you go. I had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed, got something out of that. Maybe you too can go down a bit of a Genichiro Tenryu watch rabbit hole. If you're a big fan of some old man punches and brainbusters and chops, why not? Surly old man goodness. But it's a time for me to give some thanks to the great team at Social Suplex for allowing me to do this show. Socialsuplex.com got a whole bunch of other rad wrestling podcasts. If you want some more to add to your plate, why don't you check out some Keep It at Strong Style, a New Japan podcast, or One Nation Radio, All Things Elite, Imp's WWE Adventure, the Trish and Sarah podcast, or Tunnel Talk. Alright, I think that one has been my official best recalling of all the other shows on the network. I've been quite proud of myself because I purposely do not look at a list of them. It's all by memory. So a little pat on the back there for me. But also, if you would like to check out more of the Chris Things, the art, I hope you're already following on at Chris Things on the Instagram. If not, you can get on there. You get to see all my different art things, my Way of the Blade lookbacks that I'm doing at the moment. And yeah, my upcoming show, as we've already discussed. And yeah, you also christhings.com.au, the place where you can buy prints, originals, all sorts of stuff, and you can read a bit more about the works if you would be interested in such things. I am, just so you know, I am currently teeing up our next curator guest, where I talk to the other wrestling artists about their practice. I know it's been a little while, but sometimes these things aren't the easiest to line up. People have lives, so I'm very enthused about this. I think we've got some great chats coming up, and I hope if you guys out there, on from the aforementioned competition, if you guys are feeling, at all inspired to make some art of your own, some wrestling art perhaps, bloody do it. Even now that the competition's over, please. I'd love if ever you're, doing some wrestling drawing, tag me, mention the things, and yeah, I'd absolutely love to see it. Or send me a message, whatever. I'm really enthused to see everyone's creative endeavours and art and whatnot. And if again, from the sort of competition vibe, if I'm playing any small part in making you guys pick up a pen or a pencil or paintbrush or whatnot, I think that's just great. Well, thank you so very much for listening. I appreciate your time, and yeah, this has been a fun little one, and I will see you next time.
I do the hammer lock. Do the hammer lock, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the hammer lock. I do the hammer lock. Everybody's doing it. Do the eye gouge. Yeah, do the eye gouge. Do the eye gouge, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the eye gouge. I do the eye gouge. Everybody's doing it. Okay, you turkey necks.
Spring is in the air at Littleton Coin Company, and we want to help you brighten your collection. Visit us at littletoncoin.com all month long to enjoy 15% off your purchase. With a wide selection of coins, paper money, supplies, and more, Littleton Coin Company has something for every collector's taste. Use promo code SPRING at littletoncoin.com for 15% off your purchase all month long. Restrictions apply. Littleton Coin Company. Serving collectors since 1945.